I found my grandfather's diary from World War II, and it was disturbing. I was a Belgian infantryman in May 1940. The front line moved faster than we could think. I was 22 years old. Private Luc van den Broek, Belgian Army, stationed near the Albert Canal. We knew the Germans were coming. Everyone knew. What we didn't know was how. We were told our job was simple: hold the line, guard the bridges, buy time for the Allies to arrive. France and Britain would handle the real fighting. That idea lasted about a day. The invasion started with noise, aircraft everywhere, not bombing blindly, targeting bridges, roads, radios, things that kept us connected. By noon, we were already guessing what was happening instead of knowing. Our position was a roadblock near the canal. Sandbags, a machine gun, rifles that felt older than the war itself. We waited. Waiting was most of the job. Waiting and listening to engines that sounded closer every hour. Then we heard about Eben Emael, a fortress, modern, supposed to be unbreakable. It fell in hours, not days, hours. Gliders landed on top of it like something from a bad dream nobody had warned us about. When that news reached us, morale didn't drop. It evaporated. If Eben Emael could fall, then nothing we were standing on mattered. German units started appearing where they weren't supposed to. Paratroopers behind us. Tanks crossing bridges we thought were destroyed. It felt like fighting smoke. Every time we turned to face the enemy, they were already somewhere else. We fired when we could. Short engagements, a few minutes of gunfire, then silence, then orders to move again. No decisive fights, no clear wins, just constant retreat disguised as maneuver. I remember one afternoon clearly. We were told to hold a village at all costs. We took positions in houses, upstairs windows, behind stone walls. Civilians were still inside. An old man asked if he should leave. Our sergeant told him yes, but not loudly, like he didn't want the war to hear. German armor appeared at the edge of the village and didn't even slow down. They shelled 2 buildings, drove straight through, and kept going. We weren't the objective. We were an obstacle, and not an important one. Fighting them felt like punching a train as it passed. Orders came late or not at all. Hold here, fall back, no, advance. Actually, retreat again. We spent more time marching than fighting, and when we did fight, it felt pointless. We were never where the enemy expected us to be, because they had already moved on. Civilians clogged the roads, wagons, bicycles, children walking barefoot. We tried to guide them. Half the time we were just as lost. I remember a woman asking if the Germans were close. I didn't know how to answer without lying. At night, we dug in wherever we stopped. Fields, roadsides, gardens behind houses that were still warm from people who had fled hours earlier. Sleep came in short bursts. Planes passed overhead constantly. Even when they didn't attack, the sound alone kept you awake. One night, we heard British artillery in the distance and thought, finally. By morning, the sound was gone. Later, we learned they were retreating too. That was the moment Belgium really fell for me. Not when cities were taken, not when lines broke, but when we realized nobody was coming to stabilize anything. The plan wasn't failing. The plan was gone. When the order came to withdraw again, some men threw their helmets down in the mud. Not in anger, in exhaustion. You can't defend a country that's already been bypassed. By the time Belgium surrendered, it felt unreal, like the war had stepped over us without noticing. We lined up, gave up our weapons. German soldiers counted us, bored, efficient. One of them offered a cigarette. I didn't take it. I didn't know how to process politeness from someone who had just erased everything familiar. 18 days. That's how long Belgium lasted. People ask why we didn't fight longer. We did fight. At bridges, in villages, on roads full of refugees. We fought, delaying actions that worked just long enough for others to escape, then collapsed behind us. We didn't lose in a final stand. We were worn down, stepped around, and spent. I survived the invasion of Belgium. What stays with me isn't the gunfire, it's the feeling of being used as time, burned slowly so others could prepare for something even worse.